Hi, this is Mike Elliott, and you're watching the CEO Roadshow Investor Insight Series. In this episode, we'll be joined again by Mr. Michael Friedman, CEO of MediSwipe, a data management solutions company for the medicinal marijuana and healthcare industry. MediSwipe is a publicly traded company listed under ticker symbol MWIP. Good afternoon, Michael. It's great to have you with us again.
Hey, Mike. Great to be here again.
It seems everywhere you turn, there's an article about the legalization of marijuana. And the trend toward legalization seems to be gaining momentum, as reflected in a Gallup poll that came out just 2 days ago, which indicates that the largest percentage ever, 58% of Americans, are now in favor of legalization. You can also see these positive trends reflected in the number of businesses getting involved in some aspect of the marijuana industry. So to start off, I'd like to discuss the latest developments in MediSwipe, including the recapitalization of the company. I know many shareholders are looking at this as a negative, so could you give us some more details about why the decision to recapitalize was made?
Absolutely, Mike. Nobody likes to talk about or even consider a recapitalization of a company. And unfortunately, when you look at the present situation of MediSwipe and what me coming in and what we were left at, the company as it stands today is 500 million shares authorized. And where we're at, outstanding, was about 490 million shares. And this was the result of when we decided to do a forward split and reward the shareholders on a 10-for-1 basis. And we were at 300 some odd million roughly 2 years ago. And because we honored some of the consulting contracts and buyout agreements, and some of the financings that the company was stuck to and forced to do, we were at that as of a couple of weeks ago, roughly 490 million shares. And when you're at a cap and you're trading in this 3 to 5 cent range, and you have no shares left in Treasury to either raise money or to make mergers and acquisitions. In fact, most of our longtime shareholders know that I personally gave up the majority of my shareholdings to put back into Treasury, just to keep us at that 500 million share range, to remain under our authorized. You have to make some tough decisions. And again, in my 20 years involved in Wall Street, I've never been involved in a restructuring or recapitalization or a reverse split. But sometimes you have to make a tough decision to move forward. And unless you have a plan, which MediSwipe does. I mean, we are right on the verge. We have revenues. We have a great corporate strategy within our sector. And I truly believe those of our shareholders that have been with us for quite some time are still somewhat in profits. I mean, last December, we were trading at a half a penny. We had a tremendous run up with the sector, at about 13 cents. And we've leveled off in this 3 to 6 cent range. And the bottom line is, you can't be a dollar player, in a penny game. And a lot of other companies have done much stronger reverses, whether 100 to 1 or 50 to 1 or even 500 to 1 or more. I felt that 10 to 1 was really the least amount that we could do and still feel comfortable. And hopefully bringing the stock in a couple of weeks to the 30 to 40 cent range, which I feel is going to still give us the right capitalization table, which is going to be somewhat around our spin-off company that we're expecting to be trading, any week now, 800 Commerce. We recently did that dividend. That company, as it stands, 25 million shares outstanding and a float of about 6 million. At the end of the day, when this is done, MediSwipe will be 50 million shares outstanding with a manageable float somewhere around 25 to 30 million that is going to be very tightly held. Management, as always, is going to own over 50% of the company. And this has been our trend and our track record since inception, since I've been involved in the company. There will be no dilution by management unless there are rewards to do so, and there are benchmarks to do so. And we have the proven history to do that. Management has never sold into the company, and there's no plan to do that until the shareholders are rewarded first. So I believe truly it was a necessary thing to move forward. We have the plan to make it work and to be successful for our shareholders, and for us to go from 30 cents to 60 cents with the institutional sponsorship that I know our investors know is out there, and to bring a larger new investment audience to the table and more investment banks and more retail brokers based on what we're doing, especially in the recreational markets now with a strong presence in Colorado. I know it's going to work, and I would urge our shareholders to just believe in our long-term plan. And with, as you mentioned right at the outset, with what's happening, where we've come in just the last 6 months, with everybody talking about the medicinal sector, it's on in every newspaper, it's on every talk show from CNBC to the Wall Street Journal. So there's some very exciting things that are turning around. 20 states now have legalization, with more on board, and with MediSwipe strategy of having from the inception of patients in our portals to working with doctors to working with the software side, and what we're doing now with licensing in Colorado, I think we have a very exciting story.
Well, that leads kind of into my next question, which is, there are a few companies within the medicinal marijuana sector that have stood out. What is it that makes MediSwipe different as far as the business or revenue model is concerned?
Well, again, we have tried to be almost create this monopoly within the sector without getting directly involved in the medicine. You have companies out there that are trying to create some type of, whether it's a marijuana pill or create some device that people can get their medicine from. What we've tried to do is, starting from the very inception, a system which will capture the patient. And we've done that through our recent strategic alliance and partial ownership in MarijuanaDoctors.com. If you look at this, and our technical team was involved in the development of weed maps, that we have 8 developers that are all MIT and Harvard grads that developed it. It grabs the patient, any patient within 20 states seeking to receive their medical marijuana card, goes to Marijuana Doctors. They put in preliminary health information, and from then, in that zip code, that geographical area, all the doctors in that area can take that patient file and take on that patient for an initial consultation to get that patient the help he needs and receive the card in that state where he can receive his card. From that moment on, the doctors pay us a monthly fee to be listed in that portal at MarijuanaDoctors.com. And we receive fees monthly from the doctors. We take nothing from the patient and provide all free patient services. The patient has control over his records. He knows where to receive medicine. He sees full listings of caregivers, all those things. So what that does initially is set us up with the most important thing that nobody in this industry does, is that patient data. How frequently he's seeing his doctor, what strains of medicine he's taking, and the progress that he's seeing. The other part that we have is tying in directly with the dispensaries and caregivers through PopLocator.com that allows them to list their products, to put in coupons, find out where they're located, all those things. And again, we're making advertising revenue there. Thirdly, through our new co-op program, through our connections within the industry, we are allowing these individual dispensaries and growers to expand their infrastructure with what they need in their state by using our co-op buying program to expand their businesses at almost wholesale rates. So they don't have to deal with retail hydro stores or however they're building their infrastructure. They can work with MediSwipe as their lead consultant to build their infrastructure out and save thousands and thousands of dollars at an entry level of just $500 a month. So again, we are talking about residual models of income for the first time in this industry that are real models. And then finally, obviously, our beverage, our health and wellness division, which has taken off since we first acquired our Chillo energy drink line, as well as our C-Swiss iced teas, which are in Whole Foods, which are in C-stores, gas stations, as well as medical dispensaries in all type of locations around the country. We now have penetration in 8 states. We brought on a much larger sales force. It's like a launch of a new beverage. It's a one of a kind. It's all natural, no GMOs, B6, B12, caffeine, for the energy side, and anybody that's ordered our products off of Amazon, we pride ourselves on quick delivery and the service, and that's expanding. So these are all great revenue models that can be clearly defined within the space. So basically, again, the patient from inception, working with the doctors that are clarifying the patients, directly with the dispensaries and handing them our POS and all of our systems and creating this, what I, for lack of a better word, monopoly, where if you want to get on the shelves in this industry, you have to go through MediSwipe. You want great products, MediSwipe can provide it. And for the much bigger play in big data, we are the only company, when Big Pharma may take over this industry and really come into it, only MediSwipe can provide 5,000 patients, what type of medicine that they've been taking for a glaucoma study, a cancer study. Only we have it, and quite frankly, I think that provides the real model for this industry right now that cannot be taken away, and what really sets us apart.
And next, can you tell us about the recent strategic alliance with the Medical Cannabis Network, as well as the strategic alliance with MarijuanaDoctors.com and other portals, and what that means to MediSwipe?
Yes, well, again, Jason Drazen and his team have a tremendous and long time history within this marketplace. As I said, some of the developers on his team actually were lead in the creation of weed maps, and we all know how successful that has been in this industry. When they created Marijuana Doctors and Pot Locator and some of our other portals that are part of our network, for instance, Strain Brain, that not too many people know about, it is the largest database online that has every strain of marijuana available to patients, so you can study it for your particular illness. Dispensaries can print off labels and all these type of things for patients. So again, Marijuana Doctors as a portal in which we've just opened up and licensed for the entire country of Canada, which I believe is going to be the model that eventually the United States will follow. Because in Canada, what they're doing there is actually licensing growers. It's a direct grower-to-patient model, where you're a licensed grower, the growers provide directly to patients, or if you're a patient dealing with a doctor, the growers will provide directly to the doctors, and then the doctor will prescribe directly to the patient. And again, we don't know exactly what's going to happen with these dispensaries across the country once the federal government makes a real decision within the U.S. But by MediSwipe positioning itself, again, by capturing the patient at inception, by working directly with the doctors who are prescribing, and owning that database and owning that data and being a part of that and working with all the caregivers and the growers, we have definitely made our mark in this industry and carved out these niche that we believe is real the payoff is going to be. So these portals are so important that I know that the barrier to entry to that and this data is so high right now, nobody else can duplicate what we've created and what we become a part of. And that will, again, set the terms going forward with owning all the patients, controlling where the doctors put those patients, and working with the dispensaries and the growers. I think it's really set us apart from the pack.
And you also recently announced the company has opened offices in Colorado. Tell us what that means for the company with the state going completely recreational in 2014.
Yeah, Colorado is the most progressive state, Mike, right now in the country. What a lot of people don't really understand what the rec market means. What that means is, in January 2014, you or I, whether it's in Florida or New York, wherever you may be, you can step off a plane in Colorado and actually walk into any dispensary in the state that is licensed for recreational use and actually buy marijuana in these dispensaries. You're going to pay a 30% tax, but what it means is you don't have to be a patient. And it is a tremendous step forward. And it's not only Colorado, but it's Washington State as well. So we feel with the products and software and the wellness side that MediSwipe is offering, I can't go into too much detail right now, but MediSwipe, I believe, we are going to move into some very interesting categories away from just the hemp-based market. We are investigating the possibility of getting into a model of offering our recipes, IP, our brand names for infused products within the Colorado market. That was one of the main reasons that we have a very strong presence there, offering other products as far as our own brand vaporizers and alternative nicotine products there under our name and manufacturing. I believe it's going to be the biggest market and a very exciting time for MediSwipe there because we have the POSs. We are working with we have the availability to, I would say right now, 250 dispensaries in Colorado through our present distribution network with our partners in Colorado. And I believe it's going to set the mark with MediSwipe being in this recreational state and working with an entire U.S. audience in that state alone.
And Michael, that's all the questions we had time for today. Were there any comments or anything else you wanted to add before we close?
Well, again, I want to, thank our shareholders, our investors, everyone that's been involved with MediSwipe with us and believed in our company over the last couple of years as we've carved out our niche in this market that has changed so much just over the last year. Legislation is still, this is like being in a company in a new marketplace, pre-prohibition, where you have to move very quickly and make decisions. Again, I want to say with regard to the recent recapitalization of the company, because of the outstanding, because of the authorized where it was a necessary move to do. There was just no choice. A company cannot continue to survive in the marketplace and reward shareholders where we were without the ability to raise capital or to make any type of acquisition, which is our plan, within these recreational markets of these new and upcoming ventures within the cannabis businesses. So although, again, I realize nobody wants to go through it, we felt that the timing was right. When you have a float of 470 million shares that cannot be controlled, and what market makers do in these type of stocks on a daily basis, or allegedly do, I should say, on a daily basis. And when you're trying to naturally move a stock higher on great news and benchmarks and revenues in the business, but it's a constant fight every day. Sometimes you have to bite the bullet to move forward for the greater good. And that's what management has done, and that's what management will continue to do. And again, with the new capitalization, I am very confident that, one, we have the backing of all of our institutional buyers and followers. We plan to bring on now even more because we believe that I honestly believe that we have been the dark horse in this industry for some time. And it is my goal over the next few months and 2 quarters that people will finally see that. We are going to work very hard with new research and new reports so people fully understand our story and get the value of where we are right now. And again, with our new condensed float of 25 million shares, it's still very low pricing of this 30 to 40 to 50 and 60 cent range. I believe that we can turn that minimal float with our investment partners very quickly and reward our shareholders. And again, I just wanted to thank everyone for their continued support. We will continue to use social media and obviously the news wires to keep everyone well informed. And I'm looking forward to 800 Commerce, our division right now that's presently doing $100 million in merchant processing, gross merchant processing revenues, to grow that company with our partners like Dr. Jamie Canton and several new board members that we're bringing on that are very well established professional managers to help this team for both companies, MediSwipe and 800 Commerce. And again, anyone that has any questions from me personally, I always try to make myself available to all investor inquiries. And again, thank you for your continued support, and I look forward to hopefully rewarding everyone involved with MediSwipe and 800 Commerce in the very near future.
Michael, thanks for joining us, and thanks for sharing the latest developments at MediSwipe with our investor audience.
Thank you again for having us on the show.
We've been talking to Mr. Michael Friedman. He's the CEO of MediSwipe, a data management solutions company for the medicinal marijuana and healthcare industry. MediSwipe trades under ticker symbol MWIP, and you can find out more about them by visiting their website at www.mediswipe.com. Thank you.